life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
So Spanish delight in Dallas, a close, cagey game, but in the end, a late moment of quality from the substitute. Mikel Merino got the job done for Spain against Portugal, 1-0 the final score, and the Spaniards take their place in the quarterfinals while Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup career is over. Adam Hunt here in the Golazo Network studio with Janelli Farias, Mike Grella and Troy Deeney. It wasn't a vintage game. We're certainly not going to be looking back at the highlights too much after that because there weren't too many. But in the end, I think that the right team won, didn't they, Janelli? They had that extra bit of quality.
Definitely. Spain was the better team, not just because of the way they maintained the ball and took care of the ball. They had quality chances. And it's wonderful that you have players that can come off the bench and absolutely make a difference. What Merino did in minute 90 was just impressive. It's exactly what Spain needed. And Portugal on the other side, the subs that they made didn't make a difference. They didn't make Portugal more dangerous. I expected much more from this Portugal side. I was a bit underwhelmed with, I think, every single player on the pitch. I think also Mendes coming off early because of that injury. I think it did have a bit of an impact. But there's no excuses with the quality that they have in these players. There was no excuses for them today.
First of all, credit to Spain. I still think they haven't even hit the highest gear that they have yet. One of the criticisms for me about Spain is that they want to be so perfect in front of goal. They want to find the perfect pass, the perfect moment. They want to score from the 6. Merino, for me, makes the difference also because he's got a nose for goal. So that's the Spain side of it. The Portugal side of it, and we make jokes and people say, oh, you make up these narratives about Ronaldo. It's a real shame. It's a real shame that Roberto Martinez didn't have a big enough personality, big enough put his feet down and say, I have to do what's best for the team. He didn't do what's best for the team. That's 100% fact. If you tell me that if I'm managing or whatever, and you tell me I got a player for you, don't tell me his name. Don't tell me what he did. Don't tell me the trophies that he won. Just tell me I got a player coming into this World Cup who's 41 years old, who has played in Saudi the last couple of years, and you've got a striker on the bench that just went to Milan for 75 million, who scored the game winner last game, by the way, that you didn't put into the game. If you said I got this player, 41 years old from Saudi, that's been playing Saudi, I would say no, thank you. I don't want to know the name. I don't want to know what he did. I don't want to know how many goals he scored. That's not the best for Portugal right now.
And add to that list, the minute something doesn't go his way, what are the faces he's pulling on camera? I mean,
but let's put that aside, right? Because he's got this unbelievable standards that he sets for himself, right? Yeah. And he's not going to go to the bench and say, I'm 41, let me stay on the side. But at 41 years old, you got a guy, Ramos, who scores goals, who's more mobile. We spoke to Gaiska before, the Mendieta, before the game. We said, who would you rather play against? Would you rather play against Ronaldo or Ramos? He was like, thank God Ramos is not playing. Yeah. Thank God it's Ronaldo. And he played 90 minutes, and it was not good. He was not good. He doesn't give you anything. So for me, it's a shame. If I'm a Portugal fan, I'm upset. I'm not upset at me for calling out the elephant in the room. I'm upset at the decisions Roberto Martinez made. And for me, it's a sackable offense, the decisions he made this tournament.
Well, he's leaving anyway.
So,
yeah, but again, I've said it before, just go real quick on that and then back to the Spain piece of it. I think this is legacy tainted for Roberto Martinez. You've had a golden generation at Portugal. You've had a golden generation at Belgium. And you've got nothing to show for it. And he might be a nice guy, might be a great coach and all of those things, but it comes down to, can you make the harsh decisions? And unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do that. Again, whether you take Ronaldo off or whether you leave him on, you can't have a striker who just scored not come into the pitch when you're chasing a game. So for me, that's that. But I think Spain, on the Spain piece of it, I think they're a nice team to play against. The more I watch them, the more I think, okay, from an England point of view, if we had to play Spain, let's say it was a final against Spain, I'd say I'll fancy our chances. Yes, they can move the ball really well, but actually very one-dimensional. Go out to Lamine Yamal all the time and hope he can do something on the left-hand side. So many times they created things down that right-hand side with the underlap of Pedro Porro, put balls into the box. No real striker there, no killer in the middle to have the 6-yard tap in it. It all has to be perfect for Spain to score. And then when you look at it from like an England point of view, we would be looking at that going, okay, we're not great with the ball, but we're better at pressing. We can press, we can run all over teams. And defensively, we haven't actually seen whether Spain have been tested.
But it's another clean sheet, though.
It is. I totally agree.
Yeah, good point.
And you can't take that away. But one of the questions at the top of this is we haven't seen them tested yet because they keep the ball. But I actually thought Portugal were just so disappointed. But Spain will be happy. They're growing. Again, no Nico Williams again. So is he just out of the World Cup? They're not telling us. But when you've got people like Marino who can come in, obviously as a midfielder or a striker, as soon as he got put through, we both said goal. You know who's going to score, and that's a great weapon to have off the bench.
Grella mentioned Gaizka Mendieta, who we spoke to prior to the game, and he rejoins us live now. Gaizka, thanks again for coming on. Pretty much all of those predictions you made before the game proved to be correct, and that, as Troy just said there, that late moment of quality, making the substitute, Mikel Merino coming on, there was only one place that through ball was going to go. He was going to put the ball in the back of the net. You must be delighted with the way it's gone for Spain.
Yeah, we'll have to say too long and too late. But anyway, we're happy that we made it through. Yeah, certainly, I said, like, both teams know very well, so in their minds, the moment of not making a mistake, not giving anything away for the opposition team because you know you can't be punished. I think we took a big weight on their shoulders. Defensively, both very good, clean sheets for so many games now. But yeah, it was a matter of a quality, a player that they would change or find the space to put that pass through, or a player with a quality good enough to be able to score that goal. So Luis de la Fuente made it right, make 2 calls. I heard the guys talking about Roberto. He did not make those calls for Portugal's side in terms of making changes to that really have an impact on the game. Luis made it. He brought Ferran and he brought Merino, both, bring you the goal that he gets you into quarterfinals. So I think also mention about this before the game. Benches are so key nowadays in football. You cannot use them enough to improve things. Maybe sometimes to improve something, to shake the team up, to find something that is not working for you. You need to look into your bench, and both today have plenty of options. And obviously happy that Spain found them and put them on the pitch.
I'm going to ask you again about Lamine Yamal. He underperformed today. I think he was really one-dimensional. He kept trying the same move. He was getting beat. He looked slow. What's your take on his performance today? I know you thought last match he was the best player on the pitch. Today, I don't think that was the case.
No, I didn't see many Spanish players today playing at the best as I saw them against Austria. And obviously, when the team plays well, it's for a reason. I didn't see Yamal, although started very well. I thought in the first minutes he was very sharp, and could be the game that he really takes off. But certainly did not. Also, I think playing against Nuno Mendes, it was a tough decision, but in a tough game. But he was clever in the way trying to find his back. When Mendes got stopped because of the injury, yeah, Portugal lost a big game offensively, but I think they gained defensively with Semedo, and that made it more difficult for Lamine. But I mean, not to take anything from Lamine not performing at the level that we want. But again, it's another step in the build-up for him to be at the level that he needs to be. We have a few more days for the next game.
Guys, Scott, maybe this happened to you. Obviously, you played at the highest level. You played in a World Cup yourself. Just quickly, you're Ramos. You scored the winner in the last game. Also, I know the talk about Portugal, Ronaldo, all these. You score the winner, and you're on the bench, and you don't come into the game. And then now you're out of the World Cup. What's going through your head as a player, as an individual at that time? You got to be angry.
No, of course you're angry. Because you're angry because you're not starting, because you score a big goal, important goal for the team, and next game you don't even play 1 minute. Of course you are very angry. But also Conceição, there's a lot of players, Leao as well, the players that they did well in the games coming to today did not participate at all. So I think that's, if they would have progressed, you're losing players, emotionally and kind of attached to the group. So I think those are all things for Portugal to be asked for. But yeah, of course, if I'm Gonzalo, I'm not happy at all with Roberto, with anything.
Taking it back to the Spanish element of it. Wonderful again in keeping the ball between the boxes. I thought they were very solid. Killed you with 1,000 passes.
Yeah.
Final third, we spoke up about the attackers and how well they've been doing, but it feels sometimes you're just missing that ugly number 9 that just wants to stand in the 6-yard box and have the tap in. How do Spain, as this competition carries on, how do they get over the line with having to score the perfect goal? It feels like the goal has to be perfect for Spain to score.
Well, if it needs to be ahead, that would be Merino. We don't have a number 9, and it was one of the talks when Luis de la Fuente gave the list. There was no proper number 9, old school number 9 in the box to have an ugly game, like you said, and put a lot of crosses, and hoping that he will get and connect like Fernando Llorente we had, Urzaiz, Morientes. But nowadays, there's no such a player like that. Obviously, Luis de la Fuente doesn't want to have one of them. We have a pace. Victor Munoz was on the bench. He's a very also came from injury, but he seems to be fine now. Hoping Nico Williams, Jeremy Pino is not that kind, but still very fast. So Torres. I think the style of Spain now is changed. He's not looking for number 9s. He's looking for pace from the outside to the inside. But yeah, hopefully it won't happen. But there might be a game like it happened in Qatar against Morocco. That you need to put balls in the box, and we don't have players with the natural ability to be a number 9. We have players that can obviously be in the box and do other things, but not like that. So hopefully we will not miss it. We will have enough work we have. But it's something that we discussed a lot with the team that actually Spain has.
Guys, Grella made that point earlier, and I agree that it doesn't really look like Spain have almost got past third gear so far at this World Cup. How do you look at that? Are you pleased by the fact that they haven't really had to push into fourth and fifth gear, and maybe they can save that for later games? Or would you like to have seen them tested more?
Well, we keep saying this. Has Spain been tested? Well, Cabo Verde, Cape Verde almost knocked out Argentina, and it was not the easy game that people thought it was. Then Saudi played very well. Then Uruguay, very tough game. Then Austria, okay, I don't think they play at the level against Spain, but Spain, also because Spain did the things very well. So I think Spain is adapting what it has in front of them. And today we thought they were going to be tested because Portugal. So again, we're comfortable with the ball. We defend with the ball. We have the ball, they don't have the ball. That gives us confidence and the opportunity to attack at any moment. So I'm quite comfortable and happy with that. Of course, I would like to see a bit more of dynamic and fast attacks at some points, because it looks like we are too comfortable having the possession. But seeing the players that we have that kind of gear. It's just maybe sometimes we don't show it enough. So maybe in the next round, depends which team we have in front of us, we change that gear. But so far, I think Spain has been adapting to the requirements of the game that they're playing at.
Yeah, guys, one question for me. Roberto Martinez, obviously a Spanish coach. What's his legacy now? Because he would have the Portugal golden generation. He's at the Belgium golden generation. He's coming across as like a nice coach but doesn't get the job done. How would he be perceived now as a coach overall?
I think we need to ask him what was being requested when he signed those contracts. If it was to win the World Cup, or if it was to qualify for quarterfinals, or if it was to get out the group stages. So I think that's one thing. If whoever contract him was happy with what he achieved and it was asked for from outside, of course, yes, I agree with you in the way that Belgium was for so many years the golden generation, did not get what we thought he could do. Maybe we don't know what would have happened with another coach. Same Portugal. We looked at Portugal's squad. I've said it all the time. Like, for me, the squad is unbelievable. But you see them play, you don't see the Vitinha, you don't see the Neves, you don't see Bruno Fernandes, you don't see the players in the clubs playing. Maybe only the goalkeeper is the only way that he's performed fantastic, Diego Costa. But the rest, yeah, it's question mark. So is that Roberto's responsibility? I think in a way it is, but I don't know if it's totally his responsibility. How much responsibility is also for the players?
Yeah, and before the game, you spoke about how this Portugal team plays as individuals and not plays for the team. Can you just expand on that in terms of how you see it?
Yeah, the other way around. So
Sorry.
I see the individual. Yeah, you know, like meaning, I see Vitinha. I see the squad, the lineup. Wow, it's like these guys in the clubs are the captains, are leaders, are players that decides games. I don't see that with Portugal, and I think it's because they are to the service of the team. Because again, it's my guess, it's because they've been told to play like Vitinha, you hold position. Neves, you hold your position because we don't want to lose balance. Bruno, don't make too many runs. Again, this is me thinking about why these players don't go and, we don't see the Vitinha on the ball all the time, appearing everywhere. We don't see the Neves the same, getting in the box. It's small, but it's a great header. We don't see Bruno Fernandes getting those balls between the lines and making assists and scoring goals. So where are those individual players with Portugal? That's my question for Portugal if I was Portuguese. I'm happy they didn't show up today, to be honest. But why they're not showing in more games? I haven't seen Portugal at the level of the players they have as a national team. Who is that responsibility? That's the question they need to ask themselves.
Well, their loss is your gain. Thanks very much, Gaiska, for joining us both before and after the game. Really interesting to speak to you. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure.
Time for a short break here on Golazo Matchday 48 Nations. We've got plenty more reaction to this game coming up for you in a couple of minutes. We'll see you then.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad in my camp.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow! Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Golazo Matchday 48 Nations. So the World Cup dream is over for Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo, out at the round of 16 stage at the hands of their neighbours Spain in Dallas. A 1-0 win for the Spanish side, who move through to the quarterfinals. And Ronaldo's record 6th World Cup ends in disappointment, and it continues a pretty disappointing run, really, for Portugal at these major competitions. They've not reached the semi-finals in a major tournament since 2016. They were second in Group K this year, and it is 11 career World Cup goals for Cristiano Ronaldo, 3 of those coming at this World Cup. And for more on CR7, we can rejoin Phil Kitramilides live once again. Phil, obviously you've covered Cristiano Ronaldo's career extensively in Spain, and there is a bit of a distance, isn't there, between what he's achieved both in Spain and everywhere else he's played in terms of the goals, the trophies won, the reputation, and what he's done for the national side. What do you put that down to?
Well, am I allowed to push back a bit and say, actually, he's achieved quite a lot with the national team in winning the Euros and winning the Nations League as well? Yes, all right. You know, not many teams can win the World Cup. Only one team can win it every 4 years, and Portugal haven't been able to do that. But he won the Euros with them, and they won the Nations League. And I know the Nations League isn't a major tournament, but you have to beat some pretty good teams to do that. Not least Spain in the final when they won that. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest that it's been a failure or even not as successful. He's had tremendous success throughout his club career. Wherever he's gone, he's won trophies. He's won fewer international trophies because it's perhaps harder to win international trophies. But I wouldn't say it's a failure for him not to have won the World Cup. But there is, obviously, in the back of his mind, I'm sure, and everybody who is a massive fan of Ronaldo, of whom there are millions all over the world, there is this obvious little asterisk in his glorious career that he hasn't won the World Cup, and he's not going to win the World Cup. And in his last World Cup, I think it was patently obvious to everyone that he once was one of the best players of the world and maybe of all time. He is not anymore, and he hasn't been for a few years now. I remember being at the Euros 2 years ago, being in the stadium. I think I covered every single Portugal game thinking, what's going on? You know, why is he still starting? Surely he can't be starting. And here he is 2 years later, still starting. He scored 3 goals, which he seems to think in the pre-match press conference to the Spain game, he was quite bigging himself up, saying, you know, it's not that bad. It's pretty good, isn't it? You know, I haven't done that bad. 3 goals at the World Cup. But I think everybody who is entirely objective on this matter will objectively look at this and think, yeah, you know, you're no longer the great, extraordinary player that you once were.
Phil, there's a moment in every aging player or athlete's career where you're a little bit delusional, where you think you can still do it, but your body can't. And normally your mind is 3 years behind your body. Like you keep going, oh, I can still. So when you talk to those bits about Ronaldo, are you laying the blame at his feet or at the manager's feet for keep playing him?
Well, he will want to keep playing, won't he? You know, there are very few players that know exactly the right time to go out. I can think of a couple off the top of my head, and they're Toni Kroos and Zinedine Zidane, who went out at the peak of their powers. That was the right time to go out. But obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's gone to Saudi and he's scored more goals, and I think he's won some trophies there. And, you know, they did win the Nations League with Portugal recently as well. So you can make an argument. You can use statistics and trophies and goals to make an argument to suggest that actually he is still good enough to keep going. It's just that when you compare him to what he was previously, he's so miles away from that now that it's difficult, I think, to sustain that argument. And obviously there's been a lot of criticism of Roberto Martinez for playing him basically every game, all game, every game, you know, hardly taking him off, and him being plan A and plan B and C as well. It's hard to overstate the sort of cultural significance Cristiano Ronaldo has in Portugal as not just the most famous Portuguese person in the world, but just sort of, you know, a socio-cultural ambassador for this small country around the world. But I think, you know, someone should have realized it's time that he's not starting every single game for us. And maybe that someone should have been Ronaldo. Maybe someone could have sat him down and said, listen, man, you can be so useful for us. Last 10, 15, 20 minutes, you can win the game for us. You can be the match winner for us, but we're not going to start you every game. Maybe that conversation,
Phil, you stumbled onto,
happened, yeah.
I should have said it was a leading question, but you stumbled onto my next part. You say that, sit him down, take him to one side, time to be on the bench.
Yeah.
Do you see what happened when you took him off in the last game? Did you see the faces he was pulling?
Done, right?
So, again, this is part of the... I hate this part because ultimately when players come to the end, great players come to the end, it's always they're not as good as they once were. But we kind of take away how great he once was. But the big part with Ronaldo is he has a massive ego, which you need, but you cannot say that he has helped this team in this World Cup alone. And that part there for the manager to take him out is a massive distraction. It's a massive talking point if he's on the bench because Messi's doing so well for Argentina. All of the narrative around it. So I actually think they were damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I think in this situation, Ronaldo is to blame as well because he makes it so hard to drop him.
Yeah, no, totally agree. It's just that he is such a sort of relentless winner. And you know, I used to work at Real Madrid TV, and I used to go and watch him train every single day. We used to travel with them all over the country, all over Europe. You know, really quite sort of up close, seeing them work day in, day out. He was just ridiculously, relentlessly, aggressively competitive in absolutely everything that he did. He was just a monster training. Training was just incredible the way that he trained, and then that was out on the pitch, and it was absolutely fantastic what he did during the years at Real Madrid. But that is a long time ago, and someone who is as competitive and desperate to win as Cristiano Ronaldo, I thought there could have been some logic by saying, if you want to win the World Cup, and imagine your legacy if you win the World Cup, you can be more useful to us off the bench than starting every game and playing 85, 90 minutes every game. That is logic. That will help you personally, your legacy. But maybe I'm being sort of unrealistic in thinking that conversation might ever have happened.
Hey, Phil, at the end of the day, Roberto Martinez made the right decisions to continue to play him or the wrong decisions? And Ronaldo made the team better or he made the team worse?
I was looking at his touches in the opposition area. This is not always the best metric to go by, but against Democratic Republic of Congo, he had 5 touches in the opposition area. Uzbekistan, he had 10. Colombia, he touched the ball twice in Colombia's area. Croatia once, and that was a penalty, and tonight 3 times. That's just one metric of many that you can read. Tonight, I didn't think that I didn't look at this game and think, oh, wow, Portugal have lost because they've got Ronaldo playing on the pitch. I think there are so many deficiencies in this Portuguese side, and I'm actually stunned at how poor a World Cup that they've had. I know we're talking about Ronaldo, but allow me to just deviate and just mention how utterly ineffective Vitinha was. And I think Vitinha is one of the greatest footballers we have active in Europe at the moment, the way he can read a game, control a game. His numbers tonight were just abysmal. You know, no chances created, barely no touches in the opposition penalty area, barely any completed passes, no blocks, no tackles, one completed dribble. Like Vitinha did nothing, and he's one of the best players in the world. So if he's doing nothing, it's not sort of fair to blame it all on Cristiano Ronaldo. So listen, Ronaldo scored 3 goals in this competition. He chipped in, doing what he can do because he physically can't do any more than this. But there's no way I think he should have played as many minutes as he has in this competition.
Phil, yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you've said. You know, Ronaldo was boasting about himself, you know, the way that he scored 3 goals and kind of looking at it like he's been successful this World Cup. As an outsider looking in, I think I would consider it a failure for Ronaldo this World Cup. But ultimately, what would you say is his legacy with the national team?
Like I said, you know, there are these two trophies for Portugal that have been won. The Euros in 2016, which was massive for Portugal, obviously, and massive for Cristiano Ronaldo personally, and the Nations League, which they won shortly, you know, last year against Spain, which was celebrated as a major trophy because they had to beat some good teams to win it. So I think when he looks back and when everybody looks back and think, you know, he did actually win something, and it is not easy to win something. And there are some pretty good historical legendary figures who have never won anything with their national team. And Cristiano Ronaldo has managed to do that. It's just that it's gone on a bit too long, you know, the last two tournaments. And at the Euros, I was genuinely thinking and talking to colleagues saying, he's not going to start the World Cup, is he, in 2 years? Like, this surely has to be it. And it wasn't. So I think, you know, maybe two tournaments too far in terms of being the main man. But prior to that, I think he's been extremely significant in a really, really successful period for Portuguese international football.
Listen, Phil, I love you, man, but you're trying to sell sand at the beach right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, he's 41. He's played in Saudi for 2 years. He's way off the pace. Didn't deserve to be on the field. And it ultimately hurt the team, no question about it. You got Ramos on the bench, who just went to Milan for big money, scored the game-winning goal, and was left on the bench. So, yeah, we could talk about Vitinha and all these other guys that they didn't have a good tournament for sure. We're talking about, by the way, two center midfielders that just came off back-to-back Champions League, right? It'd be hard to point at them and say, hey, those guys are the problem. But when you play with a man down every single game because you play with a 41-year-old up top, it's difficult. You know who plays with a 41-year-old up top? Bosnia. They play with Dzeko because they don't have those kind of options. But a nation like Portugal, with the players that they have, should never have played with a 41-year-old up top that's past it.
And that's why I didn't really want to dive in. I was going to, because I know we've got to go to break. But, Phil, that's where I understand you saw Ronaldo up close. You have a lot of, you saw the work, right? So when you've seen the work, naturally you want to defend that person because they need to be defended, right? But if you're talking about the midfielders as a whole, what do all three of them do? They go, they roam, they play, they passes, but also they need runners in behind. Why are PSG so good? They have runners without the ball. Where does that come from? From the top of the pitch. Not just Ronaldo. He will get the blame because he's the biggest name. Naturally, that's part of being one of the best players in world football. But Rafael Leao, when he started, nothing. Neto, when he started, nothing. Conceição, nothing. So when we do this thing of like, oh, what about Vitinha? It's like, oh, no. These guys are good. They're very good. The structure and the framework of the team, and this is why I think Roberto Martinez will come under so much legacy pressure, because he wants to play a style of football that makes these players restricted in their movement. But if you actually watch them in their teams, they're the opposite. It's go and play, go and dominate games. And I think Ronaldo was maybe a cycle too many, but also he played a big part. To say he scored 3 goals, 2 against Uzbekistan, by the way. Not respectfully, against Uzbekistan. The other one was a penalty against Croatia, which he came off as soon as he scored. So he hasn't been a good tournament, but he has been a great player. So I want us to talk about it for right here, right now, what he has been, but also appreciate just how great he has been as well.
Best Portuguese player, I think, tonight and maybe in the whole tournament was Nuno Mendes. Maybe that should tell you something. If you know, if the left back is the standout player of an unbelievably talented Portuguese squad, you know, these were one of the favourites coming into the start of the tournament. That's why I'm so profoundly disappointed in their performance throughout the tournament, because we expected so much more. We've touched upon some of the issues. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo is a glaring issue, but you're right, how the midfield, how the team is structured around that midfield was wrong, because when you have those players there and they're not being involved in the game, which they weren't tonight, that's not just on them. So yeah, you're right. And I'm not just here to defend Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm here to say he was an absolutely extraordinary player, one of the best of all time, but he hasn't been for a while. And yeah, we've seen that in this tournament.
And Phil, just finally, now obviously they're going to have to make do without Ronaldo because his World Cup and international career is over. How do they move on from this? What do you think is going to happen over the next few months? Obviously, Roberto Martinez is leaving too. What is the path forward for Portugal now?
It's funny, isn't it? Is there any chance that it's some kind of weight lifted off the team's shoulders, that they don't necessarily have the pressure of playing with for Cristiano, have this huge aura presence around them? I'm not sure, but I think that psychologically there might be something to it. Obviously, they have someone like Gonzalo Ramos who can come in and play, that kind of central role. But I think emotionally, him leaving might not be the massively negative thing that we could perhaps think that it was. They've got some eminently winnable games coming up in the Nations League as well. I say that Norway World Cup quarter-finalists, so maybe not that winnable. But this is still an extremely strong side, and with a few tweaks, I think they will be very competitive at the next Euros.
Phil, last one, really, really quick. Yes, Ronaldo's moving on, but so is Roberto Martinez. And I just pulled up on my phone here. He's 45 matches, 32 wins, 6 draws, 7 losses. So it's still, for as much as Roberto Martinez leaves you wanting a bit more, it's still a very difficult job to come in and do better, isn't it? Because it's still a very talented team. So what next for Portugal as a federation? Where do they go? Never mind Ronaldo not being there. As a manager, who's the next one up?
But are we? I don't think you can dismiss Ronaldo's presence and the effect that has had on the manager. So the manager's going and Ronaldo's going as well. A new manager comes in. It's like a clean slate. It's like, Ronaldo's been here for the last 21, 22 years. He's not here anymore. We can almost start afresh. Don't mean to make that sound disrespectful at all. Obviously, we know what his legacy is like. But like I said, his presence, I think emotionally might have had a strong impact on these players and the coach as well. So clean slate, and let's see what they can do.
Yeah, Phil, we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure it's a debate that's going to rage over the next few weeks. What's next for Portugal? Thanks for joining us today. We'll speak to you soon.
Pleasure, guys.
OK, time for a short break here on Golazo Matchday 48 Nations. We've got plenty more coming up for you. Reaction to Spain beating Portugal 1-0 to move through to the quarter-finals next.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days, but the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
I look crazy. It's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in 2 worlds.
There are others. They're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
A crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Golazo Matchday, 48 nations. That was the scene in New York when the Spanish fans at the watch party saw that late goal go in from Mikel Merino, and they knew that was enough to get them past Portugal and into the quarter-finals of the World Cup. So let's have a look at the SofaScore ratings for these two teams. Yeah, just like it was in the studio. Let's start with Portugal, the losing team. Few sevens in there. Neves, Mendes and Costa, the goalkeeper, getting in the sevens. But other than that, fairly disappointing.
They're really nice to Ronaldo. 6.8. I think I was really underwhelmed. I don't think he did anything. I think I would have given him a 4 if he got lucky.
It's easy to, I think, mix up the two. We're not saying he's not an amazing, legendary player. He is. He's one of the best that's ever played a game. We're not taking anything away from him. But just like in any business, in anything, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like when you invite your family over, you're so excited they're coming, right, to town. And then after like the first or second day, it's like you're starting to get old. After a week, it's like, you want them out, right? It smells bad.
They're not doing the dishes, are they?
They're not doing the dishes. And it's like, you know, and it's uncomfortable. And at this point, it's just like, all I'm saying is at 41 years old, for me, Portugal deserved the better option. And I think Ronaldo starting up top meant that Ronaldo was more important than Portugal, to the group, to the manager, to whoever. So that's the frustrating part. And 6.8 is very generous.
And I think, Grella, you bring up a really interesting point, and we've talked about this before, haven't we? That this has been a World Cup where the stars for each team have shown up and carried their teams. Messi, Kane, Haaland, every team you can point to that. And here he didn't.
If we're having a balanced view, he should, at 41 years old, he shouldn't be the star. And we're talking about how great this Portugal team is. So where was this star throughout? No? If we're talking about stars, over 100 million, where's this star? Didn't turn up. I don't think he's a star, but where was he in any of the games? Where was this fella who said he wants to leave? So there's so many. I understand with France, it's like Mbappe, with Argentina. I get it. Harry Kane, all of those different pieces. But Portugal's biggest strength was how much talent they had. And unfortunately, we're going to look at Ronaldo because he's the biggest name, and we're going to give him probably an unfair rating because of what he used to be compared to where he is now. But if we're talking about stars, we're allowed to look through the rest of that team and say, why didn't you guys turn up? For me, 6.9 and 6.8 across the front four is flabbergasting. They did nothing attacking-wise. Nothing. But these guys are coming at nearly 7s. 7 in our world is, you played okay. 7's a decent game. I didn't see it. I didn't see it from Leao. I didn't see it from Conceição. Yes, he put one decent ball into the box. It was in the 92nd minute. Like, we need to see a bit more. And yeah, I just think the best two players for me was Mendes and Costa. I think the midfield struggled because of the construct in which they set up, and I think that's on the manager.
I'm guessing some slightly higher numbers for Spain, particularly.
Based on this, everyone should be 10. Oh, my God.
Well, Marino, he's come on, won the game for them, and he's only got a 7.7.
No, he gets a 10 out of 10. He won the game for them.
Yeah. Did his job.
Did his job.
What do you think, Janelli?
Yeah, definitely. I think Merino, I would have given him an 8 or 9. I think when you come off the bench like that and you directly impact the result and you get your team into the next stage, you are the best player, you are the MVP. Ultimately, Spain had all around just a decent performance because they weren't tested. They didn't have to do much off the ball. They were constantly in possession. They were the ones creating more chances. Lamine Yamal, 7.2. I don't know. I think it's a bit generous there. I think he did not have a good game. He underperformed. He lost the ball more often than we're used to seeing him lose the ball. But
how did the keeper get a 7.5? I don't remember a shot.
We made a couple of good saves.
Yeah, one or two saves.
Well, there's not one off the top of my head that I go, oh, it's a great save. Or
didn't the one that hit the bar, he touched?
No, that was
Pedro. That was Pedro Porro. Yeah. So anyway,
but, I mean, you have to say he hasn't conceded a goal yet.
Granted, but he did have a shot to face. So that's kind of what. But again, I actually think SofaScore go right. How can we wind Troy up the most? And then let's put this together.
Troy score.
Because again, so based on their stats, Olmo, who was involved.
All right then.
Involved in more or less everything, did that.
Change this to Troy score. You give
No,
more.
but Olmo, who was involved in everything, linking up the play, doing all these things. He's got the same as Cristiano Ronaldo, who touched the ball maybe 20 times.
Okay, you do it. You
so
start
it makes no sense. I don't think you could give anyone in the Spain team anything less than a 7, because all of that backline did their job well. They all kept the ball well. The 2 midfielders were very good. They dominated the game. Lamine Yamal, while he wasn't as successful in terms of dribbles, I could understand why he was 7.2, because everything came through him. The opposite side wasn't as fruitful. But again, this is how stupid stats are. If the striker scores, it's an 8. He misses, it's a 6.
Yeah, it's based on that one missed chance.
It's based on one missed chance, but the whole of his game is now summed up off one moment. But he had a solid game, he was a decent game. Obviously, Marino comes in, played, 10 minutes? Has 1 chance, scores. Now he's got the best, highest rated. It's just, to me, it just winds me up.
I will say, though, yeah, around 7 for sure, but no one played great. This team has another 3 gears to go. We haven't even seen, they've been cruising through the tournament. They haven't conceded a goal. They haven't played jump off the page. They don't have one guy that's jumped off the page yet. They're going to get better and better and better as the tournament goes on.
To your point about Ronaldo with Saudi, Laporte has been in Saudi played for a long time as well. So we haven't actually seen what he's like defensively 1v1 or when he's been tested. So those bits could come back to haunt them further down the line.
Yeah, you do wonder whether a Kane, a Messi, Mbappe, how they would manage to cope with that. Let's bring in Buckets to talk the betting. But I'm sure you want to come on here.
Yeah, let me go right by the board.
You were gloating like anything last night after your record. So how do we get on? Do we hit a single one?
Depends if we have a graphic or not. Because I can lie about it and be like, oh, no, we don't. Oh, we got the graphic.
In the red.
Yeah, no, it's really fun to talk when you go 6-0 on your bets. A little less fun to talk about the 0-3 days. But all of this was based around my narrative that Spain would score early, that they would make something happen and force pressure. We can complain about Oyarzabal missing the easy. I couldn't do it. Shot in the 6th minute. We can complain that changed the narrative. What happened here was Spain didn't score, so Portugal had no reason to press. They could sit back and play for that 0-0. And when you're betting on goals and the team you need to score doesn't score, understandably everything misses. So it's a bummer, but I'm glad we're still recapping the losses. We're not pretending we're perfect here. We're owning up to this, and we're going to do it again for USA. So,
did you base this on stats, or was it your gut feeling?
I'm a little bit of both. I can look at stats and say, they did well against Austria. Portugal's been iffy defensively to make something happen. Ultimately, I'm going to lean into my gut and think that my gut was telling me Spain would do more here. They'd force the pressure, and they just weren't able to force it. It
shows as well, doesn't it, just how quick a bet can change. Because that one moment, if he scores, 2 of your bets hit.
Different
green
yeah.
there.
Like, there's green, and now you're 8 out of 9, and he looks great. So yeah.
And then if those 2 hit, you're probably going to get the Spain second goal, because then Portugal's going to press. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to rip them on the counter. But
so if we did the opposite of everything you said here, we would have actually made some money today.
You would have done phenomenal today. Yeah.
It's a bit like with Nigel's bets. Whatever he says,
let's do the opposite.
You mentioned earlier on that a lot of the bookies did have Spain as favourites to win the competition. We've been talking throughout, and when we were chatting to Geisker about how they're not in 5th gear yet. They've not had to play that well, but they are looking good. They haven't conceded goals. Has the market? Are they on Spain, or are they not on Spain after what they've seen?
The market's probably going to adjust a little bit after this, because we keep talking about Spain just has to get to that 4th or 5th gear. Well, how many times can we watch them not do it before we stop trusting them, right?
Well, if you're English, apparently you just wait to the final. That's what we're going to turn up.
That's what you're going to do. So. But I would guess that the money's going to be, you're still going to see France as the heavy favorites. You're still going to see Spain, some bets coming on them. But a game like this, even though you got the win, regardless of how ugly it may have been or pretty it may have been, that's going to worry people, because we all have a recency bias in the betting space. We see one bad performance and we go, ooh, not going to touch them again. But then they'll win the next game 4-0, and you go, okay, well now I'm betting.
Not the next game.
Not the next game.
Next game is against the US.
The Belgium game. Oh, sorry.
No, he's saying that Spain. The next game. No, they can't win the next game 4-0.
We also saw in this game a continuation of what we've seen in a lot of these big games so far at the World Cup, where the first half is just so cagey. And I think that's when I saw some of your bets. I thought, well, maybe we get found out here. Is the market responding to that being a theme, that the first half is just like 2 teams?
Well, Adam told him after the game.
Yeah,
that's what I was worried about. He read it, seen it. We did a whole piece on it after the game. I was worried about that one,
What's your name, Phil?
No, No, but I get that understanding. There's actually a very popular bet in the World Cup market going on where it's which half will have the most goals. And you're seeing a lot of people
bet in the second
half to bet the most goals. But then you get your random odd one where you get that goal in the first 10 minutes and then it's kind of a mess. But you are going to see, I think with Spain in general, well, Spain's a perfect example. All of their goals have been in the first half until this game, and all of a sudden you get a whole different matchup, a whole different device. I'm not going to let this turn me off from betting Spain in the future, but I understand how seeing all the red there can kind of worry some people on the side.
Okay, Buckets, commiserations. Tomorrow's another day, but that's why you bet responsibly, isn't it?
Absolutely.
He was 6 for 6 yesterday. He was on fire yesterday.
Exactly. Okay, time for a short break here on Golazo Matchday 48 Nations. We've got plenty more reaction to Spain's 1-0 win in Dallas against Portugal coming up next.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad in my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Golazo Matchday 48 Nations. All eyes turn to Team USA and their big game later against Belgium. Can they take their place in the quarterfinals at a home World Cup? It's going to be a huge TV audience. Everybody in the country focusing on this big game. And obviously, the big talking point over the last 24 hours or so has been Flo Balogun, and the one-game red card ban has been rescinded. And that's had an interesting impact, Buckets, hasn't it, on the betting market going into this one?
It has had an interesting impact, and it's tough for USA in general because understandably the bias being here is the money is being flooded on USA no matter who they're playing. The worst betting day for the betting public of the entire World Cup was when USA lost to Turkey. That is when the most money was lost by the bettor. So there's a bias here for sure, but 25 points is a big movement. And it's not like we've had any big news out of Belgium. They've got no one hurt or no one resting. This is all entirely the Balogun line here. And it's tough. That's a lot. I mean, minus 150 to advance, for me, that's playable. That's a tasty line. I'll go ahead and take that. Minus 140, we're getting into a heavier number here where you're having to bet more to find the value. And we're also dealing with, there was a lot of people that bet Ricardo Pepe, anytime goal scorer, after the Balogun red card came out, because you're assuming he's going to play the 9 spot, he's going to make something happen. Now you're just stuck with those bets. So we always tell people wait for lineups. I know this is kind of a unique situation here, but it's going to be tough. I just think that's a big movement. I know he's important. He's a top goal scorer. He's doing everything right. 25 points is scary in the betting space. I
have a question. There are people that set their bets way in advance.
Yeah.
Would you say don't do that 100% and wait for lineups every single time?
I want to say yes, but nobody.
Well, in this case, buckets, right?
Yeah, in this case,
the opposite.
Yeah, in this case, it's the opposite. Like if you would have bet USA right after the red card, you're in a better spot. But if you would have bet Balogun, it's just this is such a unique situation. It's hard to tell. I always say wait for lineups, except for the superstars in a knockout game. Kylian Mbappe, if you want to bet him a week in advance, fine, go for it. I don't see a world where he sits, but this is just such a weird situation. It's hard to find.
Do you agree with this premise of how much an impact just one guy has on it?
I didn't before. And then when I started to think, okay, well, who will play? Pepe, will it be Gio? Will they switch the formation a little bit, the shape, the way they look? And then I started thinking, well, they don't really have an option to replace this guy. Like, he's very dynamic. He presses the football well. I think he fits the way they want to play really well. So, yeah, this actually makes sense now that I thought about it. When I actually thought that he had the red card and he was going to be out, I was like, all right, well, how do you replace it? It's actually not an easy fix as you think. So that's why I think the odds reflect that, how important he is to the team.
Yeah, and also he's scoring. Any striker that's scoring is very difficult to just replace somebody off the bench, whether they've been playing well or not. Scoring goals gives you this confidence, this freedom of, can't wait for the next game, I'm going to score again. So having him back in not only adds to his legacy, the team being, fired up and everyone growing, but also Belgium are now like, it does a little demoralising thing, like, okay, he's back in now, how do we prep for that? So a lot of why this movement's happened is not only based on what it does for the US, but also what it does to Belgium now, thinking, right, we have to tactically tweak because they can't dominate the ball, because if you're dominating the ball, naturally you move up the pitch, which means you leave space in behind. That's what he loves the most. And obviously America want to win the ball back, go quick in transition. If he's got space in behind and they're just doing slide ball passes with the likes of Pulisic, then you're going to be in trouble. So he is a very big piece to this. Everything being aside, I'm glad both teams have got their best players fit and available. Let's have a great game. And, if Belgium win, I get to do what he does to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a really interesting tactical game. And if you thought we couldn't fit any more by the wall, let's make it just a little bit busier and bring Grella's tactical whiteboard, whatever it is. There you go.
Yeah. All right. This is a tactical whiteboard. That was it. You don't have to do that anymore. Go on, bro.
This is the U.S. and how they'll play, just in case you haven't watched them that much yet. Belgium will be in the 4-4-1-1 here. They'll probably be a little different. It might be a 4-2-3-1. For this purpose, it doesn't really matter. What happens with the U.S. here is they have built-in width, and they play predominantly in the opponent's end. And the reason for that is the wing backs here. Right, they don't just hang out and connect to the line. They're so aggressive to push forward. So a lot of the times they're in the midfield line or even in the striker line. And what happens here is when Jedi comes up here, pushes Pulisic into the pockets at times. Balogun, why he's so important, he'll stretch, right? And these runs and this width and this height, even from the other fullback, it makes this back line fall down. Right, and so now all of a sudden, from a position where they want to start higher, it becomes really difficult, because of these runs tearing them down. Now, in the midfield three, really interesting is Tyler Adams, who sits in here. A lot of the time, he's the anchor. He's like a little bulldog in there, wins all the balls, right? Super athletic player. But what's happening, they have such a good combination between Tillman and McKennie, and they're not playing as midfielders. They're rarely ever going to get the ball here, going to get the ball in these pockets here. They're almost always creating more runs forward. Right? So you'll see if Balogun ever comes in here and takes the center back out, McKennie is running forward as fast as he can. Tillman's always at the top of the area. Obviously scored that fantastic free kick. And then these three center backs just kind of have it, and Tyler sits in front of them. And what ends up happening is as they're moving the ball, they're always looking for this width. They're looking for these penetrating runs. This will push Belgium down, but will push any opponent down. And then the other thing is that sometimes the variation that happens is one of the center backs, Tyler Adams will come out here and push one of the center backs forward, and they'll get even higher. So again, this back four of Belgium starts all of a sudden getting not just the striker, they start getting the two midfielders running from the midfield, they start getting the other striker and Pulisic or whoever that may be, and then they get another a wing back in it. So you see the back four are occupying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is that? Six red shirts. So it becomes difficult. Obviously, the midfield has to track these runners of Belgium, so they start coming down, and before you know it, they're like in that shape. And then the U.S. steps up into here, and they get pinned in there for large periods of the game. That's why you're like, when you watch the U.S., you're like, wow, how are they pinning them so good? It's because of these positions they take up all over the field. They have width, and they commit numbers forward, and they do, unlike Portugal, they run forward, they run into the spaces from the midfield.
If the US lose the tactical battle, where do they lose it in this game?
Right there. Look, this is exactly what happens. Now, they have the football here, right? As they play forward, if Lukaku is here, let's say, and this ball sticks, now all of a sudden they've got to take up all the space. They have super athletic and Freeman and Richards, not Ream, though. Is not as athletic, so these spaces here. Because they're going to play predominantly in Belgium's end with pressure and high press, these are the spaces you worry about. And then the recovery runs, right, from these guys that are going to be so high and wide that have to connect the line. That's why they have to have huge engines. These guys have to make runs, sometimes 60, 70-yard runs. So
one more bit to add to that. Sorry,
yeah, go for it.
You're doing great. So if you're from a Belgian point of view, right, this is Lukaku. You want it to link to whoever this is, but you've got Trossard. You saw what he can do. You got Doku. So one thing they can do is just drop it off here. Doku can pick the ball up. Now Doku's 1v1, which is what Doku wants, whether he's on the right or on the left. He can drive you up, and with all of this space in behind here, this says Tim Ream, he will get tight, he'll come down. Trossard, as he does for Arsenal, will not stay just in this channel here. He'll make that run. That's where I think that's where you can see the problem, and that's why it's so important for Belgium to have the target man to link it. Sorry.
I have a question for you, Grillo. What about this part of the pitch, which I think is where the U.S. is going to suffer, especially with Lukaku in here? Mm-hmm. How important is it going to be for the midfield to come in here
to block it
and get this 2v1 on
go
Lukaku?
and double down.
Not let him turn.
Super important. It's a great point. Again, this is more, so we're talking about when the U.S. has the ball and they're in a high block pressing the ball. This is more when they're in a low block. I think just as important as these two midfielders coming down and sort of shadowing where Lukaku is at all times, this will probably most likely be Tyler Adams that will come down and try to pick balls off of him. It's important that these fullbacks, these wing backs come back into shape as well. And then you get the midfielders back in that sort of shape. As long as they've got a 5-3, 8 guys, they can cheat. Balogun will stay sort of high. Pulisic will sort of hang out in these areas as well. So, but I think it's a really good point that Janelli makes, is that Tyler Adams is going to have to sort of screen Lukaku for most of the game. If it's Lukaku, we don't know, obviously, who it's going to be yet.
Just really quickly, Janelli, you played as a defender. If you're Tim Ream and you know, more than likely it's going to be Lukaku, but you're in for a game, you know that they're going to try and target you and maybe some of your limitations. How do you prepare for a test like that?
You have to be smarter. You have to be really smart in your game management in those moments. You got to be touch tight. If you know you're not the fastest player, you know they have that on you, you can't let them turn. And if they get behind you, you might have to use a tactical foul to your advantage and be really smart with those moments.
It's going to be such an intriguing game between the US and Belgium, an entire nation cheering on the US, of course. And don't forget, we've got a special Call It What You Want live show for you coming up at 7 Eastern. Poppy hosting the guys, Charlie Davis, Jimmy Conrad, Tony Miola, and Marcelo Balboa, and plenty of other guests who will be joining the show at the Publix Plaza at Judas Park in Nashville, Tennessee. They'll have a reaction and analysis from the game afterwards as well. Okay, we've got plenty more coming up for you here on Golazo Network after this short break, as Spain have taken their place in the quarterfinals of the World Cup with a 1-0 victory over Portugal.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the running.